My hair is extremely greasy today. So what does that mean? Hat. It means hat. Hey guys, and welcome to my first ever booktube video. That is correct. I, as you can see from my channel, have around with some videos from time to time when I get bored. As a recent college graduate and recent full-time unemployed individual, I've had a lot of time to read, and reading we have. I read 8 books this month and DNF'd 1 book, but I'm hoping to pick it up again. I'm gonna start with the book I did not finish, which was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Guys, does it get better? The book is very confusing at the beginning. They kind of just throw you right into it. And I was just not in the mental state to try to figure that out. But I have to ask the people of BookTube, do I read it again? Does it get better? Because the whole concept sounds amazing. It's about a girl named Alex. She joins this secret society at Yale that deals with forbidden magic, raising the dead, you know, secret society stuff. It's giving dark academia, it's giving supernatural. I love it, I would imagine, but I just could not get into it. It almost was a little pretentious to me. I felt like when I was reading it, my brain was not working. Like someone just unplugged my brain and like I was reading, but there were no thoughts forming. So maybe at another time when I'm more put together, we'll pick that one up again. The first book that I actually read this month was Someone Who Will Love You in All of Your Damaged Glory by Raphael Bob Waxberg. I hope I said his name right. Regardless, he's the creator of BoJack Horseman. I love BoJack Horseman. It is a bunch of short stories about love. I'm obsessed with it. It's the same like tragicomedy vibe as BoJack Horseman. I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I loved a lot of the stories. I will say, weird. It's really weird. If you haven't seen BoJack Horseman, it's almost a little weirder. Basically, everything is a really giant, weird metaphor for normal things in life. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff, definitely pick this book up. If you're a BoJack Horseman fan, I think you'd really enjoy this. Some good tabbing going on here. Now, I will say I don't tab a lot. Only things that like really speak to me. So this is a considerable amount of tabs for me. So keep that in mind. The next book that I read this month was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the prequel to The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I thought it was just okay. It's a very character-driven story. Like you would think for The Hunger Games, it would be a huge part of this book. It's not. It is very cool to see Snow's background. This book follows President Snow when he was 18 and he's selected to be a mentor of the Hunger Games. And he is assigned Lucy Gray Baird. She is the female tribute from District 12 and she's not like other girls, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. I really liked Lucy Gray as a character. I think Snow could have been better. He doesn't start off as shitty as he is in the movies. This is villain origin story. Gave this a reluctant 3 stars. Kind of wanted to give it a 2.5, but I gave it a 3 because it did keep my interest, but I think it kept my interest because I was hoping it would get better. I think that this will be a fantastic movie, but I think there is no reason that this book had to be this big. Could have been squished down a little more. In my opinion, this book is like, I think 500 something pages. I feel like it was a really long beginning and a really rushed ending. The next book that I read this month is One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. 5 stars. This is a 5-star read, the first of this month. I loved this story. This book is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but it takes place in modern day Manhattan and it follows 2 rival witch families running their separate criminal empires. There's kind of 2 main storylines in this. The younger siblings are, I'd say, the main plot. So there's the youngest sister, Sasha, and the youngest brother, Lev. I want to say it's Lev, I don't know, Lev. All of the sisters are badasses, especially the youngest and the oldest. The youngest brother just has this snarky, sassy, little arrogant personality, but he's like fully in love with Sasha. So we love that dynamic. On the older side, there's the oldest sister, Maria, sometimes known as Masha. So little confusing, Sasha, Masha. She's the oldest sister. She's a badass. She's kind of the whole reason that empire stays running. And then there's the oldest brother, Dimitri, and they've had a long lost relationship, so a lot of tension, a lot of sexual tension. And so this book follows these two families and their forbidden loves. I loved it, even when there wasn't a lot going on and it was more just between the characters. The character relationships were so good that I was like giggling in my bed. I was sitting in my bed like hee like love it. And the next book I read this month was Horrid by Katrina Lino. I picked this book up because it was supposed to have a similar vibe to The House of Hollow, which was one of my favorite books I've read this year, another 5 stars. I was a little let down. This is about a girl named Jane. Her father just passed away and she has to move from California back to her mother's old estate house in Maine. This house is known as like the creepy house in the town that everybody always talks about. When she moves in, she starts hearing noises. She finds this room upstairs that's supposed to be a storage closet and it's locked and her mom says not to go in there, but when she looks under the door, it's actually a little girl's bedroom. That is that story. I really liked the concept, was let down by the execution. This was a 3 stars for me. I would say this book is like 90% contemporary and the last 10% is horror. There's a lot of building suspicion, but nothing really happens until the end. So for me, this just didn't do it. If I was going in with a different expectation, it might have been a lot better, but I did like the writing style and I felt like it did hold my attention, so it gets a 3 for me. Now, this is tied for my favorite book that I read all month. Tied with One for My Enemy, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I am sure you've heard this book being talked about. Like I said, I'm not really like a tab girl, an annotation girl. Look at all this. I have never felt more connected to characters in my life. If they were feeling joy, I was ecstatic. If they were feeling a loss, I'm crying, okay? I am not a literary fiction girl. I thought I wasn't gonna like this as much as I did. This was a 5 stars. This is the story of 2 people, Sam and Sadie, and it kind of follows their life in 3 different places. So they first meet as kids in a children's hospital and they immediately bond over their enjoyment of video games. They don't talk for several years and they meet again in their college career and decide to make a game together. You would think it's all about video games, which it's definitely a main theme. If you are a video game enjoyer, you're definitely gonna like the references in this book, but I wouldn't say that you need to understand video games to understand this book and enjoy this book. Her writing style is unlike any other book I've read. I truly enjoyed every single chapter. On surface level, it seems about video games, but it's about friendship, love, found family, loss, disability. This book is chef's kiss. I can't say anything else other than just please read it. Like, please. The next book is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I enjoyed this more than I thought I would. This is about a girl who finds out that the love of her life is getting married to somebody else. So in order to stop it, she makes a deal with the Prince of Hearts. The Prince of Hearts basically makes a deal. He says, I'll stop the wedding as long as you agree to give 3 kisses to 3 people when I tell you to. Destiny, betrayal, they're going to balls, they live in palaces, they're going through enchanted forests. Slay. This is an absolute slay. This was a 4 stars for me. I deeply enjoyed this book and it was a really quick read. Like, there's short chapters, it moves very fast paced, and I enjoyed this a lot. I'm currently reading the 2nd book. Don't really have anything bad to say about this. It's just not 5 stars because it's not a 5-star read for me. The next book I read on my Kindle, and this is gonna be controversial to some people. I read Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I hated it. I know that this is a popular book. I've heard a lot of people talking about it, and since I just got my Kindle and it's on Kindle Unlimited, I was so excited to read it. By the time I made it to the back half of the book was skimming. Like, I just wanted it to be done, and I didn't want to DNF it because I had already read so much of it. The way that they present it is kind of like growing up as a girl in your 20s. I'm 22 right now, and I thought, like, what better time to read this story? The humor didn't land with me. The stories kind of just fell flat, and a lot of times it seemed a little, guys, don't come for me. It just felt like another middle-aged, privileged woman talking about the stupid things that she did when she was young. I just don't feel sympathy for her because everything that happened in that book felt like self-sabotage. That was a 1 star. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys. And the last book I read this month, The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I ate this up. I devoured it, obsessed. And also, can we take a look at the Barnes & Noble special edition? Look at these sprayed edges. Look at this sunset, brilliant. It's so gorgeous. I didn't even want to tab this book because I didn't want to mess with the aesthetic here, but I saved a lot of quotes from this. This is about a caseworker who works for the Department in Control of Magical Youth. So his whole job is to go to these magical houses for kids, make sure that everything's going well, that they're not a harm to themselves or other people. He gets assigned a very special top secret task to go to this island and spend a month there with these kids. These kids aren't the traditional magical youth. They're considered dangerous and unnatural to even the magical world. So this is like a top secret island. The children on this island range from a were-Pomeranian, yeah, like werewolf, but not wolf Pomeranian. He turns into a Pomeranian, like 5 pounds. And also the Antichrist. So I'll leave it at that. Excellent book. There is a queer love story, very much subplot, so it's not a romance. This whole thing definitely deals with a lot of social commentary on people judging things that they don't understand. I really enjoyed this book. It was so cute. It had me laughing. The writing is great. It's such a beautiful and fun story. Excellent wrap up to my May reading. Those are all the books I read this month. So now we're gonna get into a little bit of my June TBR. Legendborn. I have heard nothing but great things about this book. This is a book about a girl whose mother just recently passed away, and she goes to this early scholars program at UNC Chapel Hill, which is the same school that her mother went to. And her first night there, she starts seeing some demons. She later finds out that there is a whole secret magical society at UNC Chapel Hill called the Legendborn. She also finds out that there might be more to her mother's death than she originally thought, and she thinks that this is connected. So this is kind of her journey in that world. I'm really excited to read this and see the rest of the stuff that goes on in this book. And the next book on my TBR is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This book takes place at a masquerade ball, and Evelyn Hardcastle dies at this masquerade ball. And Aiden, who is the main character in this story, he wakes up in somebody else's body. And he is then told that over the next 8 days, he's going to wake up in somebody else's body that was at the masquerade ball, and he has to figure out who killed Evelyn Hardcastle. It's like Groundhog's Day meets Clue. Like, weird combination. Groundhog's Day if it were about murder. Love it. And the last book that I definitely would love to read this month if I can get my freaking hands on it is Fourth Wing. I am just debating on reading it on my Kindle because I could download the ebook version, but the physical copy is just so beautiful. And I called like several bookstores and found out that it's completely back ordered for like 2 weeks. Like, they actually did not print enough copies of this book to keep up with the demand. I don't need to explain what the Fourth Wing is about. Everybody knows Fourth Wing. I'm so excited to read it. So we'll see if I can get my hands on a copy. If not, I'm probably just gonna read it on the Kindle because the FOMO is so real. So that's it, guys. This was my first booktube video. I have a lot of cool video ideas coming up. If you guys have any book recommendations or any videos you might want to see, let me know. But I hope you subscribe and stick around and add me on Goodreads. And I need more book friends, so hit me up. Okay, guys. See you next time.